A lot of people have been wondering when the next Nintendo Direct is going to be. Obviously, there's a lot of games coming out very soon for the Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo sort of needs to talk about them. There also is other things going on within Nintendo that they also need to talk about before the year's end. There's been rumors about a Nindy Direct happening in the month of August, but we just got confirmation that on August 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, there will be a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct for the Nintendo Switch that will feature Mr. Sakurai. And a lot of people are buzzing about this. A lot of people are wondering what this Direct is actually going to entail. So in this video, I thought it'd be fun to speculate a little bit. Talk about what I expect to be on this Nintendo Direct, and then talk about what could potentially also be on this Nintendo Direct. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about this upcoming Nintendo Direct.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards!
So obviously the focal point of this Nintendo Direct is going to be Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's Nintendo's ace in the hole for 2018. It's going to be a massive game, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate took up a lot of time during Nintendo's E3 presentation, and while some people really enjoyed that, some people not so much. So I think by doing a Smash-centric Direct, you sort of put people's expectations in line. You sort of tell people, hey, this is going to be all about Smash Bros. So if you're not super interested in Smash, maybe this Nintendo Direct isn't for you. And I'm not the most hardcore Smash Brothers player in the world, but I think there's going to be some cool stuff in this Nintendo Direct that will entail both Smash Brothers and things outside of Smash Brothers. The main thing I think we're going to see from this Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct is new characters. Obviously, Sakurai is going to be hosting this and being a part of this, so I think you're going to start to see at least one or two new characters. Obviously, we got Ridley's announcement during E3 2018 for Smash Brothers, and that was a huge deal, but I think it's time to unveil another character. We've learned a lot about the gameplay of Smash Brothers already because it took up such a big portion of Nintendo's E3 2018 presentation. I think this is going to be more so about the characters themselves, maybe some of the levels that you'll be playing on, maybe if there's going to be a story mode. I think that's another factor you're going to see in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct, is that you're going to see more modes in this game. You're going to learn about the modes in the game. Obviously, online is going to be a big component of this game, and I think we're going to learn about the online modes. I think there is going to be a single player experience in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I think that's one of the things we're going to learn about during this Nintendo Direct, because let's face it, Nintendo obviously wants this game to be a big deal, and it is going to be a big deal. So they're wanting to pretty much create a lot of buzz and hype for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate by showing things like the new modes, by showing things like how the online is going to work, by showing things like new characters. I think that really sets a tone for how this game is going to be, and of course it gets the internet buzzing, it gets people talking, it gets people speculating on what else there could potentially be as far as new characters and stuff. As far as new characters are concerned, I think one of the characters we'll see will be a third-party character. Obviously, all of the Smash Brothers characters are returning, so everyone from this point on is a brand new character, and I think it's going to be someone cool, someone from the retro gaming world, maybe like a Simon Belmont or something. I don't know, I just sort of have high hopes that we'll see a cool retro-style character that's a third-party character in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct. But I think one thing that we're also going to learn about in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct is also Nintendo's online service, because obviously when this game releases, it will be utilizing Nintendo's paid online service, and that's supposed to be launching in the month of September, and really details are very scant on that. We know a few basic things. We got some basic information like pricing, the estimated release of it. There's going to be some NES games, but I think it's time to lift the veil on this. Obviously, everyone is going to be watching this because of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but by including the online services as well, you really get the news out there about this service. You really get all of the nitty-gritty stuff, and like I said, since this game will be launching when the online service is active, it makes perfect sense to me. You want to hype up the online service. You want people to be able to buy into this online service, and obviously Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a game that you're supposed to play competitively. You're supposed to play this game with other people, so what perfect way to introduce the online service than by introducing it during the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct. Another thing that you have to sort of wonder is there going to be an open beta for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Let's be honest, a lot of the Smash Bros. Games that have featured online play, it's been a bit hit or miss. Obviously, Super Smash Bros. On the Wii was pretty bad. Brawl had some really bad online problems, and it just wasn't a very fun game to play online most of the time. The 3DS and the Wii U versions of Super Smash Bros. 4 were pretty decent. They were much better than what Brawl was, but I think having a solid online code is going to be very important in this game. And the fact that Nintendo has done betas with stuff like Splatoon in the past, it makes sense for them to introduce a free beta. You're also seeing betas with third-party games. Games like Dragon Ball FighterZ has an upcoming beta for the Nintendo Switch so that you can test the online stuff. Blaze Blue had an online testing system. So I think it makes sense that we're going to see an open beta for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because Nintendo wants to nail this online code. They want to make sure that this game actually plays well online because it is their big game for 2018. Now, as far as other speculative things go that are outside of Super Smash Bros. And outside of the Nintendo Online service, are there going to be any other games shown during this Nintendo Direct? Is it going to be all about Super Smash Bros.? I don't know. I sort of hope that there is a little bit more. Maybe something towards the end of the video to show a surprise game announcement for 2018. Because remember, Nintendo themselves said that there are still more games coming out in 2018 that they haven't even talked about yet. And since this is an August Nintendo Direct, what better time than then to introduce it? You can also use these characters that are in this game to sort of hype up the game that's coming out. So for instance, let's say there's a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD collection coming out or something. That's something that's been heavily rumored. A lot of people have been talking and buzzing about that. When you're showing off Samus or Ridley in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that's sort of like a little segue to be like, hey, by the way, Metroid Prime Trilogy HD is coming to the Nintendo Switch this holiday season or this fall, late this fall. And it would be a perfect way to introduce, games that have not been announced for the Nintendo Switch in a sort of manner. Are you going to see like big blockbuster announcements? Probably not. Obviously, Smash Brothers is going to be the focal point of this. Obviously, Smash Brothers is the star of the show when it comes to this. But I think you might see a game or two announcement from Nintendo themselves during this Nintendo Direct. Because obviously, they're still trying to get back people who might have been a bit upset during their E3 presentation. It was definitely a mixed reaction to their E3 presentation. This is the first Nintendo Direct since their E3 presentation. And one of the big complaints about their E3 presentation was too much of a focus on Smash. So if you're doing a Smash Brothers Direct and then you infiltrate with other sort of stuff, smaller games that you haven't talked about yet, or maybe games that you have talked about that you just haven't, promoted much and given more information on, I think it's a smart thing for Nintendo to do. The main things I expect, though, are definitely a lot of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate information. A lot of information about the characters and new characters. I also think you're going to see online stuff. It's definitely time to pull back the veil on this online thing. You need to show the interface of it. You need to show every nitty-gritty detail about this because it's obviously going to be an integral part of what Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is going to be. Online is very important for these games, and with past games, they haven't been that great. So you need to nail this online. You need to make this online super solid. And I think this is the perfect way to do it. And of course, is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate going to have a beta? I think so. I think it makes perfect sense because once again, you want this online to be rock solid. And what better way to do it than doing an open beta? It worked for Splatoon. It worked for Splatoon 2. It worked for Blaze Blue. It's working for Dragon Ball FighterZ. There's a reason why companies do these open betas so that people can find bugs, people can find issues, and that the servers get tested. And that is very important when it comes to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. These servers need to go through the ringer. There needs to be very low latency because a fighting game is dependent on latency. If there is input delays, if there is any sort of delays, it could impact your gaming experience. And finally, I think you're going to see the game modes for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Things like single player, things like different online modes, different deviations and things like that. Super Smash Bros. Games are always littered with tons of Nintendo stuff and tons of third-party little goodies and stuff. And I think that's what we're going to see. I'm not the biggest Super Smash Bros. Fan, but I am excited for this Nintendo Direct. We will be covering it live on the channel, so make sure you guys tune in for that because I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sharing this experience with you guys, so make sure you keep it tuned in to RGT85. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you have notifications on so you get a notification when you go live. And let me know in the comments section down below what you think of the Smash Brothers Direct, what you expect to see. Do you think it's feasible for there to be a beta in this? Do you think they're going to show other games that potentially they haven't announced yet or have just talked about sort of in passing that will be releasing for 2018? And most importantly, in my opinion, do you think they'll talk about their online services? As always, thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.
RGT.